when a bottle's been on your wish list as long as this, is it always going to lead you to be a little bit disappointed when you eventually try it? Join me here today for the dregs of this bottle of a Bruichladdich Islay Barley 2014 that is one that I'd long coveted and finally got my hands on. Hi there, my name's Lewis and welcome to the Neckpour, the whiskey review channel, where I give you my thoughts and opinions on a particular bottle of whiskey from the Neckpour all the way down to the dregs. As I said, today we're here for the dregs of this bottle. It's a 2014 Bruichladdich Islay Barley, aged 8 years, released in 2022. And it's been one that, to cut a long story short, I've really enjoyed. But yeah, let's pour ourselves a little dram and we'll have a talk through it. Always a good cork pop on these slightly fatter neck bottles, I find. And let's pour ourselves a decent little measure here. And I'll leave that last little bit in there to enter into my infinity bottle to live on forever. So yeah, as I said, I've long since been quite a fan of Bruichladdich, as you can see from videos up there. I've had quite a few of their whiskies on the channel now, and it's probably in my top few distilleries, although their price points are getting a little bit wild at the moment. So I'll be probably looking to branch out to other distilleries. But no, I think they make really good whiskey. And one of their 100% Islay releases, like this one, have been something that I'd always wanted, but I'd never just seen one at a great price until this one came along on auction, and I was able to pick it up delivered for £38.58, which something like this for under 40 quid is just a no-brainer. I had to say yes. Had to pick it up, and when it finally came, couldn't wait to rip into it. Again, you'll see from the length of time between the videos, I've got through it pretty quickly. And yeah, if you go up there, that'll be my Neckpour when I first opened the bottle and talk through it. But no, it's been one I've actually really enjoyed, this bottle, and it has actually really quite changed. It's kind of softened and mellowed, because Bruichladdich can be quite aggressive, a bit abrasive, things like that. It's a big 50%, non-chill filtered, natural colour, all the things we like to see. But with that non-chill filtration and that high percentage, particularly when they're producing a dirtier, more farmy spirit, can be quite hard out of the bottle. And that's what we enjoy about Bruichladdich. But then when it softens and changes, it actually becomes a very different dram. And this has really opened up to become a much more kind of gentle sipper while still retaining a lot of those lovely Bruichladdich qualities. I mean, on the nose, there's still heaps and heaps of cereals there. But a lot of that kind of cheesiness has mellowed away, and it's more just kind of whipped cream and cereals. And there's a lot more salt on the nose, I find, now that it's opened up. On the palate, just instantly coats everything in a rich, thick oil. Loads and loads of lemon there, lemon rind and lemon juice. It's really citrusy in a really pleasant way. Again, there's, you know, a bowl of really sweet children's cereals alongside it, and then a real sort of, on the very front of the palate, there's just that little bit of it's almost like the lacticness of like a sharp sour yogurt, but balanced with all that sweetness and that brightness from the citrus, really kind of rounds out quite nicely. And then the finish is just cream, vanilla, and really like quite floral, I find, now that it's opened up, which is quite different, because straight off the bat this was quite a big punchy whiskey, whereas this is now a much more sippable thing, rather than feeling like you have to almost work yourself up to drink it, because it was quite powerful when the bottle first opened. And in that sense, I kind of feel like I've had almost the best of both worlds out the bottle, and actually probably the middle third, where it was kind of halfway between the two, it was really, really spot on, because it still had plenty of that signature Bruichladdich character and those complex, interesting flavours that made you want to sit and almost chew on a glass for half an hour at a time and really think about it and digest all those things in there. So now towards the end, it's still got a bit of that character and it's still got plenty of interest, but it's a much more rounded sort of experience. And so I think the change of the bottle is really great. And again, it's why natural presented whiskies I think are so important, because when they've been stripped of all those extra things and they've been heaped full of colouring and all that kind of stuff, you don't get that experience. I find those bottles stay pretty consistent right the way through, whereas the bottles that still retain so much of that character and those other proteins and fats and those kind of things, there is that influence of the oxygen affecting it. There's the influence of a little bit of light getting to the bottle, all those things that have a cumulative effect to give a bit of additional bottle aging. Although it's not strictly aging in terms of whiskey, there is something that happens and there is a change that occurs, which I think is really interesting. But no, this is one, if you see a bottle of this, or I think any of the Islay Barley series or the beer barley series, I'd say jump on it 100%, as long as the price is right, because this is fantastic stuff. But £55, £60 is probably the limit of what I'd be wanting to pay for this. I've seen some going for like 80, 90, which I just think for me, for 8-year-old whiskey, it's probably just a bit too much. But no, this is a dram I have really enjoyed though, and I will continue to keep my eyes peeled for other releases along these lines by them, because they do put out really great stuff. But if the prices go the way they are still going, I think I will have to start skipping more than I purchase, that's for sure. But I would just like to say thank you all so much for joining me here today to watch my roundup on this particular bottle. It really means a lot to me that you all tune in and watch. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button down below. If you've got any thoughts on this particular bottle, other Bruichladdich, or if there's anything comparable that you'd like to see me try, drop that in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you on it. And if you've really enjoyed the content, hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you're informed next time I post. But other than that, I would just like to say, again, thank you so much for joining me here today. And I'd love to see you again for another episode of the Neckpour, the Dregs, or just my thoughts and opinions on whiskey. But until then, just like to say cheers, Sláinte, and I'll see you again.